Hey guys, Steph the Illuminated Nerd here. Today we're going to be looking at the differences between antiviruses and anti-malware and why you probably need an anti-malware on your system in order to be fully protected. Let's get right into it. So for terminology's sake, a virus is actually a type of malware. So all of the malwares out there, Trojans, worms, exploits, adware, spyware, all of those are considered a type of malware. And viruses, as you've traditionally heard, that's actually a kind of malware. So in the 90s, when viruses were more common, viruses, worms, Trojans, companies came out with antiviruses because the key word the industry was using to say is virus. That's what everyone was hearing, is that, oh, my computer has a virus. And even to this day, people know this term as the commonly referred way of saying, oh, my computer has a virus. So that's why there's a lot of antivirus software that has been developed over the years to handle the traditional viruses, worms, and Trojans that come from like the 90s and the 2000s, where they were traditionally forms of software that would infect your computer by usually executing a software such as opening an email attachment or running a piece of software in your computer inadvertently, which would then infect your computer and try to spread the viruses to other systems and whatnot. So that's a traditional virus, and we have a lot of antiviruses out there that can do that, but important to note that if you're using Windows 7, 8, or 10, there's already a built-in antivirus, such as in Windows 10, Windows Defender is actually a pretty good antivirus. And, Windows Updates automatically updates those definitions for the most recent viruses and whatnot that are out there. And that helps with, like I said, a common way to catch a virus on your computer is sometimes when you're executing an attachment in an email that maybe you don't recognize the attachment and you click it anyways. Maybe you can get infected with the virus that way. More recently, they've had a new class of antivirus software called anti-malware, and that tends to focus on different kinds of malware, more like exploits, adware, spyware, and types of malware that you tend to get from browsing the internet. For example, if you're just browsing, you're surfing around, and you go to a website where maybe that infects your browser with some spyware. So that's an example of something that maybe a piece of anti-malware could pick up in real time and prevent from infecting your system. And that's why most people tend to have an antivirus, because they've got, Windows has one by default that's enabled. But anti-malware is something that you have to actually install. And though there's a little bit of anti-malware functionality in Windows Defender, software like, for example, Malwarebytes, which I'm going to show you soon, has focuses on those kinds of malware and generally is more successful at preventing and removing that class of types of malware compared to an antivirus. So I'm just going to show you briefly how you know that you have Windows Defender running on Windows 10. So let's move on into, I'm going to do a screen share here. So if you right click on your start menu and then you click on settings, okay, and then under update and security, you go to the Windows Security tab and then open Windows Defender and Security Center. And if you have the green check mark, that means that you've got Windows Defender is running, is operating, and that you've got an antivirus that's running. If you have another third-party antivirus that's installed, usually what happens is Windows 10 will disable Windows Defender and let your other antivirus take over, and you'd still get that green checkbox there as long as Windows detects that you have a functional antivirus. But anti-malware is different. So as long as you've got that, you know that you've got your antivirus running. So now let's show you about Malwarebytes. So I am at malwarebytes.com, and you can click here for a free download so that it gives you a free 14-day trial of Malwarebytes Premium. And once you install Malwarebytes, you get that 14 days of real-time protection, and that kind of gives you a way of trying out whether you feel that you need that real-time protection. Past those 14 days, however, you still have the ability to use Malwarebytes to run scans on your computer anytime you want. So if you choose, if you feel that you don't need the real-time protection, you can still keep scanning your computer once or twice a week. That's probably recommended. Well, like to scan your system once a week after you have Malwarebytes installed, because that'll definitely help you remove those pieces of adware spyware on your system that get installed that a traditional antivirus won't pick up. So let me just get this Malwarebytes installed, and I'll show you really quickly. Okay, so after Malwarebytes is installed, you can see it in your sys tray down here. All I did was I double-clicked on the icon in the sys tray, and that's going to bring up the Malwarebytes sort of control panel that kind of gives you access to, there we go, it says 14-day premium trial starts now. The trial gives you the access to the real-time stuff. When the trial expires, you don't have access to the real-time. So click on Get Started. Now you can run a scan anytime you want. When you open up this panel, it has the ability to clean and quarantine those infected items after your scan is done, just like an antivirus does. So you should definitely do that once a week. And if you're interested in maybe the premium version, so that you have the real-time protection, so that it blocks those pieces of malware before they get installed in your system, then that's definitely something that's recommended. So there you go. That's Malwarebytes, and I'm going to start a scan right now. And hope you guys give Malwarebytes a try. And it's definitely worth trying to at least installing it and doing an initial scan to see if you have any malware. And I'll see you in the next one.